introduce you as the Yoda of backcountry snowboarding?
Snowda.
Snowda.
Corralling the chaos of uncertainty
Oh!
into a stampede of opportunity.
That's what I need to hear that in this. Welcome to the Riders Lounge. This week I have my good friend John Buffery with me, and today we're going to discuss backcountry essentials, backcountry for the recently new to the backcountry, and get into some items, the hard goods that we need to purchase to get out there and get after it. All right, so this is a great one for me. I've worked with John Buffery for a long time. He was one of my mentors when I went through my guide training 20 plus years ago.
Oh yeah.
It's great to have friends on the show. And I've learned a lot from this guy, and I want you guys to learn as much as you can from this episode because there's a lot of seriousness to this. The gear we buy is life-saving equipment at times.
Definitely.
So yeah, I just really want to get into this kind of special episode, and we do get a lot of questions about it. So yeah, let's start with a little bit of your background. You are the safety wrangler, and yeah, you know, for those, I mean, Buff's pretty legendary, but for those that don't know, give us the Coles Notes of Buffery then.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
And then we'll get into packs and get into the goods here.
Cool. I'm an avalanche forecaster for the British Columbia Avalanche and Weather Programs for highways, as well as an itinerant guide for whomever wants to hire my services doing avalanche safety. And then prior to that, I was one of the founders of BALDFACE, where Shane and I first kind of hung out and met and guided. I worked in Whistler, throwing bombs there for 6 or 7 years ago, and then heli ski guiding, ski tour guiding, split board guiding, all those things.
And that's a whole other episode. The origins of split boarding. This guy was around for a lot of that. So we'll talk about that. That'll be a different one, but I will not forget to do that. So Buffery comes with a great amount of experience. You've even helped with a lot of R&D on backpacks.
Yeah.
I remember early on some AK stuff you were helping with.
Yeah.
And I think that's where I want to start. The first thing we are going to buy, and what we have to kind of dial into ourselves, is going to be our backpack.
Yeah.
I brought one here that we can kind of dissect. I've been a big fan of the Jones pack. This is a 32 liter.
Really great size.
I want Buffery to kind of dissect this too because he's looking for certain things. He's not familiar with this pack. You use a Burton pack mostly.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's things I know I look for. We have the straps on the outside. That's key because sometimes we're going to throw our split board on our back or our snowboard on our back, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I have a quiver of packs. Depending on where I'm going, what I'm doing, I have a pack for that situation. And this, I think, is a really great general all-around pack. As you just laid it out there, man, having these straps that you can put your board, hard, solid board, on your back. You can use sides if you got a split. You can, and snowshoes too.
Sides like that, yep.
You've got loops here if you're carrying an ice axe where it's getting a little steep and hard and you need to kick in. And not too many straps, not superfluous straps that get caught on stuff. I quite like it. I mean, you turn this over here too. Having a nice back here that has some rigidity.
Split this apart for us here.
And then a formed shoulder straps that don't come straight over your back to hold your shoulders down, but come across. And then a great hip belt is really key. This is nice and wide. I like it, and padded. Little storages for lip balm or whatever these little things you need to use all the time. Look at this. I'm just, as Shane just said, I'm discovering
I wanted Buffery to discover this pack, yeah, because it's, the guys at Jones did a really good job with this 32 liter. And this is a size I find, this can be an average. It's a little big for your resort bag, maybe. It's a little much. I'd rather go maybe 26.
Sure.
But 32 is pretty good for general purpose.
Yeah, no, I think 32, you can do a tour with your split board, skins, have a good lunch, have some rescue gear. Yeah, I like it. I like this internal frame with some rigidity and this light aluminum side. Just give it some structure that when you put it on, it gets a little heavy. It distributes the weight down onto your hips and out into your shoulders. I quite like that. That's a great idea.
And ergonomics are a big deal. Buffery and I are smaller guys, so finding a backpack, I've had a couple 40s where they've just been too long for me, right?
dude.
So, and for you as well, right? So
These days with helmets too, you know, something that's smacking in your hand
Yeah.
all the time. I'm very fussy with my pack.
So test fit your pack in store, load it up. I mean, you're going to want to get a shovel into it. This is going to be the other part of the conversation.
Okay.
And sometimes you almost want to pick your shovel first because that's going to actually dictate the size of the pack frame and whatnot. Like this is a very big shovel. I love this. Is one of the EVAC series from Black Diamond, but it's a big shovel. So I'm not getting this into an 18 liter at the resort. It's just not happening, right? They make the other Transfer 3, I believe it is. It's quite packed down, but you know, you may end up here. Shovel choices. Do you have some pointers on that?
I do. Make sure that it's a metal shovel for sure. This has got some other parts that you can utilize. It's got multi-purpose. It's got these holes in it that if you need to put a split board into it, you can do that and you'd strap the tail and across here. So having multiple uses for everything that's in your pack is crucial. The volume of this is big, so but if you're, you know, cutting blocks and making jumps, this is a great shovel. But if you're just working in avalanche terrain, this is probably too big.
Yeah.
It's too much volume that when you need to move snow quickly, this is going to burn you out. But I do like this too. It's got that light serration and a nice cut to cut blocks to get at it. This ergonomic handle, and this D is really important too. To ensuring that you have good grip here and it has some torque. Yeah, having an extension here is really quite key too. You know, it's about just having the words you used earlier, good ergonomics.
Ergonomics, yeah.
And when you're moving snow, when you need to. Yeah, so that's quite a nice shovel. It's pretty light, it's all metal.
It is great for
handle.
building kickers, this one, there's no question. I mean, but the Transfer 3, like I said, is much smaller, a little bit shorter in the length there, but it fits in your pack really well. And in a rescue situation, you're gonna be moving quick, so a little bit of volume change here isn't gonna be a super big deal, but Buffery will have another shovel we'll be able to look at when we dissect your bag.
Okay.
Another key here, and it was kind of funny because I go to turn on my transceiver and it was dead, and I felt bad for a second, but John reminded me, no, it's never good to leave your batteries in for the summer. So this one is not working, but we just, this could be an hour-long conversation on its own, but one thing you are going to need is a beacon.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no question. Your transceiver, your beacon, as some of us call it. And there's varying models out there. There's tons of brands.
Yeah.
I've been using Mammut. I've used Baravox back in the day when we had the old red ones.
Yeah.
But learning it,
Yeah.
I mean, is key. Speak a bit about this.
Absolutely, Shane. You know, this is a key element on search and rescue. It's a life-saving device if you ever need to use it, and if you ever need to use it, it has to be working impeccably. So if you turn it on this fall and it works, you need to take those batteries out and you need to look at those terminals. Having no batteries in it was a good call. Nice one, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then as Shane laid it out there too, you'll only be good at doing this if you practice. And if you ever need to use it, you'll wish you'd practice more, and you can't practice enough.
Yeah. So they would take us through really fun scenarios back in the day where you would bag 3 other beacons and Buffery would go out there and he'd just bury them. We'd all be turned the other way, and then you'd run into this field following the flux line, and you'd run into this field, and whoever was the fastest at getting at it. This is something, if you do a cabin trip with the boys, whatever it is, that's part of morning coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Go out there and just smash out a few of these grid challenges, however you want to do it. It's really, really smart, and you're right. You can never practice this
And it's kind of fun. When you get good at it, too, it's really cool.
I got competitive.
I know.
This was a thing.
At the guides training every year now, that's part of their training where they take it to the fun thing, where they'll bury a couple, and then you have to transition from down on a snowboard into your split up, get up, do the rescue.
Oh, sick. So there's
fun.
another thing you could do too with your homies. That's awesome.
It's fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. So the last key piece, and we're just dealing with key piece. We're not talking about there's Avalanche. There's all these other things you can put in your pack. But the last key piece is going to be a probe.
Yeah.
We need to be able to probe for if there is an incident. Once you get a signal and once you find that, you're going to set 2 people hopefully above that, 1 probing, 1 getting the shovel ready,
Right.
and away you go. Black Diamond, we've just grabbed some stuff from upstairs, but these guys offer a package which is also really great. Other brands do too. You get your beacon, your probe, and your shovel in here for a really reasonable price.
That's a really good price.
Now the probe, we'll pull out of here and just discuss that. You're going to run into different lengths, and Buff
Yeah.
will explain to us why.
Yeah. So yeah, again, they're aluminum, they're carbon fiber, they're different things, different lengths. This is a 280 centimeter probe, which is good. This is kind of the all-round probe length you need. If you're in the coast up in Alaska, you might need something a little bit bigger. Maybe that's something that goes down to 360. You want to have the segments short enough that they fit in your pack. Some of them, the older school, a little bit too long. If you've got the thread kind, don't use this. When you use these, there's a technique. You hold on to the top here and just throw it out onto the snow downhill, and it will all it'll kind of splay it out. And then as you kind of, if it's all straight, it just comes together super easy, super nice.
The bench is going to mess with us here, but there it is.
And then you hear it click, right? And then that's click. The other key point here, a lot of people miss this point. Just put this away like that. Snap that away. Any of those loose cords as you're probing up and down with other people around. I've seen this kind of catch in people's eyes. So anyway, when you're using a probe, always gloved hands, 2 gloved hands all the time. You don't want to have it warm and cold, get your hands cold, get the probe cold. You want it nice and smooth. You don't want too much deflection. And they come in different gauges, different thicknesses. This with the graduation numbers on it, super key.
Yeah.
Again,
I like this probe.
yeah, and this is like a double utilized tool. It's not only a probe, but it's your ruler for when you're doing your snow profiles. And you're looking at the snow stratigraphy, trying to figure out the stability. This helps out.
Yeah, so this is all the components to a bigger picture, which is getting involved in your community of backcountry riders and taking the correct courses. And so in Canada, can you quickly take us through how someone would go about that? A recreational backcountry rider.
Yeah.
Where do we start?
Yep.
Where do those folks start to kind of,
Yeah.
what's that first step?
Okay.
They bought their gear.
Yeah.
Now where are we going?
Yeah, it's super key, Shane, really key. To have all the gear is not just the answer. You really have to know how to use it and stay out of trouble. This is all just in case you need to use it, but you never just lean on this equipment. With Avalanche Canada, which is a sister association with Canadian Avalanche Association, Avalanche Canada are now the purveyors of different avalanche courses that set a standard. And most of the standards or instructors that teach these standards for the Avalanche Canada have AST1 course and an AST2 course. And it's outlined and designed through those different associations from the profession down to the recreationalists, the Avalanche Canada, in levels 1, AST1 and AST2. And then you kind of take one course, get some experience, take a second course, get some experience, and then may I, if I may, take this opportunity.
Yes, please. That's where I was trying to go with this. This is important.
Recently, we have now designed the risk maturity course, which has been exclusive with BALDFACE and the pro riders and their film entourages who have great skill sets in traveling in the mountains with sleds or just touring or heli. They'll do that.
And originated with Pat Moore's kind of concept around this and evolved with you.
Jeff and it's a whole. It's been a great iteration. This year we're offering that outside of just for pros. This year is the first year we're offering this at the Journeyman Lodge, December 14th to the 18th. Filling up really quickly, and it's for people.
We'll put a link below. We'll make sure we link below.
All right.
Yep.
It's for people that can go into the mountains and travel well. It's not the AST1. It's closer to the AST2, but it's tailored, how I see it, for people who travel well into the mountains. So that's what we're doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And that goes for filmers, that goes for professional riders, that goes for, it covers the whole gamut.
Sure.
It's something I would like to take. I mean, that would be fantastic.
It's so fun,
because it's
man.
like our old school guide
It
training
is.
used to take us through
Yeah,
BALDFACE,
it's
which
intense.
I loved.
It's intense. It's intense with the learning. There's not a dull moment.
That's
It's
awesome.
a go. There's lectures in the night, lectures in the morning, out in the field, practice.
Yeah.
It's great.
So that's the levels, and there's actually a course prior to called the RAC, the Recreational Avalanche. Do they still do that one?
No.
Oh, so that is interesting.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so AST1.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of good in my eyes. That's where you should go because some of the RAC guys will go out there and be a little loose still, and so
There's
kudos to
some,
that.
Yeah, and there's some online stuff that you could use as a prerequisite as well for Avalanche Canada's prerequisite for the AST1 or 2. So.
Good.
Lots of great information. AvalancheCanada.com is a great place to start.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the biggest thing. The gear is one thing, but the skill set is paramount in this. Buff, I'll get this out of your way. Let's just take a little bit of. There's other components we're going to need going out in the backcountry. It's not. We kind of overview the key items, but let's pull this pack apart.
Okay.
We did one 4 years ago called What's in Buff's Pack. You'll be able to find it if you go back. And Buffery did dissect his entire backpack, and it was fantastic. But we were in our infancy as a show, and so I want to update that because we've had a lot of folks, a lot of people have asked, and I think it's a good idea. So let's quickly, because I'm expecting to see a little bit of first aid. I'm expecting to see maybe some tofu. What else do we have in this? Let's see it.
I don't know. You know, over the years, in my world, in the guiding world, there's a competition to make sure that everything you're using in your pack is utilized more than once.
Yeah, I've done that too many times. Just packing so much.
Totally.
Why am I doing this?
Yeah, totally. And it's not too heavy, but as Shane was saying earlier, making sure that it fits well. There's not a lot of extra straps in and around it, but this is my guiding pack. I love this pack, man. Of all the years I've had packs, this is my favorite.
So this is a professional's pack. So you guys out there will probably be looking at 60% of what's in here being needed probably in their packs at home. But Buff isn't necessarily going to whitewater with this pack, but this is what you're professionally using.
Yeah. First, and this would be my split board touring pack.
Perfect.
Right?
Good.
Okay, yeah. So, I don't know. At the very, very top here, what do we have? We have like where you put your sunglasses, more communication tools. You know, you have to have a plan when you go out into the backcountry with looking at Avalanche Canada's avalanche forecasts and what they're telling you about your area.
Yeah.
Heed that advice. Those are, again, it's a trickle down of information from all the professionals throughout the province, feeding into a repository of information interpreted by professionals at Avalanche Canada, and then giving you the goods. Heed that information. If whatever they're telling you to do, that's the plan. You make that plan according to their forecasts. Having a good communications plan with your cell phone, who you're going out with, your transceiver, having a secondary communication device that can talk to satellites if you're going afar. And then that kind of has to be at the top of your pack. Other things, I got my granola bar here, maybe 2 of them. This is my cleaning tool for split boards.
That's a key piece. Some kind of scraper for your split setup.
Gotta have it.
Gotta have it.
Gotta have it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Along with some tools, which I'm sure Buffery's going to have here.
Yeah, so and the whole thing with split boarding, with touring, you have to be proficient at it. I practice that, and it's systematic. My split board, just a little tangent here, I kind of painted. I painted the bindings that go to the right place at the right time, the skins that go into the right split and the right time with nail polish. So I have blue on one side, orange on the other. I mean, these little tricks that you learn so that you don't put it on backwards and go, oh, or you have to think about it and go, oh, it's just like.
Backcountry efficiencies and these are little things you will pick up on pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But skins is one, absolutely. I've seen it too many times. Or the fumble and, other folks are trying to get moving and you're still fumbling around. You don't want to, no one wants to be that human out there.
Well, and and for you and I and other pro riders that have moved into being more professional, it's kind of like it's a thing we do. It's like we do not want to be the last. We're out to prove a point that being with split borders is not a problem.
Exactly. And we were really part of that early on, that Yeah, I took that seriously
Oh,
to
yeah.
prove that I was as efficient as anybody else
Absolutely.
out there, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, have my poles on the outside. I really normally try to have things clean on my pack. You can see there's not a lot of straps. The ones that are there tucked in nicely. Even my poles that are on the side here, they're tucked in pretty nicely. I've had these for years. They're carbon fiber. They're great. I like them. I keep the straps on the wrists when I'm flat and I'm not in avalanche terrain, but if I'm in an avalanche terrain, do not wear the wrist straps.
Exactly.
There have been
very
deaths
good point.
where people have been caught in an avalanche, held down by their straps around their wrists.
Yep.
Yeah, let's see, what else have I got here? So into the meat and the potatoes. Oh, guides book. This will be where your plan is for your day, where you'll kind of have an outline of where you're going, your turnaround times, some communication, some plans. Yeah, it's just your everything book.
In a non-professional setting, when I'm just going out with the crew, my book is snow studies. So I'm studying the areas that I ride most often, and that's what my book ends up being.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
some of the comms throughout the day, but you want to have that overview. That information throughout your winter is key.
Totally, yeah. The other kind of cool thing about having a pack that you've laid out over the years is I know where everything is. So if I'm looking for something specific, I'm going to reach down to the one side, the other side, the back, the front. I kind of have an idea already for over all these years of where things are. These are my skins, water bottle. Sometimes I'll carry a thermos if it's a day like that. Yeah, these classic things you need. This is my down jacket with a down hood, extra gloves, and an extra hat.
So see how compact that is? So when you're in a store, now this is key because I told about the Patagonia Nano Puff I really like. There's a lot of brands with a lot. Jones has a great packable down. That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's, that is minimal in what Buffery needs. But the amount of warmth you get out of this, you're all sweaty, you get to the top, boom, that down jacket goes on right away before you start putting all your board together, this, that, and the next thing. So I love the size of this buff. That's fantastic. And that's the way it should be. So buying that component, pack that down jacket down so you know in store what you're going to end up with.
Right.
Yeah.
The wool hat I have is wool. So when
And it's in here too?
Yeah, when you're walking up, right, you're sweating, same sort of thing. You put your little woolly on, the clean, warm one, and put your other one over top. Your heat will kind of radiate out.
I
It'll
learned
dry
that
the
from
top.
you. Yeah.
Like all these little things.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, this is the shovel I really like.
Now look at that in comparison.
Super light. You see the serrations there for cutting. You can see where I've actually filed it to keep it sharp.
Yeah.
And this is approved by the International Commission on Alpine Rescue. It's been tested for its strength, durability, and the movement of snow.
What
for
brand
the
is
speed.
that?
Ortovox.
Oh, it is an Ortovox.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
Just put that together for me, would you? Yeah. Certain sort of thing. It doesn't have the D handle, but it has principally the same sort of thing.
And how does this one disengage right there?
Yeah. The right length, super light. And then it has the same holes. It has holes in it as well that you could utilize for rescue sledding as well. There's that.
And just incredibly light.
Yeah.
Incredibly light.
I'm always trying to think of the things that are right. This is something that I have not compromised on lightness. This is a snow saw that I can use for my snow study pits, but also I've cut more wood with that.
Well, I was just going to say there's wood
can see
shavings
wood
on it.
Yeah.
And I would say the same with mine. We definitely like to cook hot dogs out in the backcountry, so you tend to light a fire. But for a roosh block or anything like that, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you look at the other thing too. You're digging your columns for doing all your.
Oh yeah.
I've marked out the 30 centimeter length on it, right, with a little
smart.
etcher, right,
Yeah,
so that when
so-
you're doing your columns for your tests, you don't have to pull a ruler out. You just like, oh yes, there we go. Oh,
You
and
get
yes,
your nice,
and
perfect
yes.
squares that you're then looking for layers, which will be another episode.
Yeah.
We won't get that deep on that kind of stuff here.
Yeah. The probe, again, a little lighter, smaller gauged. Not really. Again, I have a bunch of probes, and I select what I like, depending on what I need it for. So this is my super light guiding probe.
Oh yeah, wow.
And then this is my snow profile kit. And again, it's small and it's light, but it has the essentials that I keep utilizing over and over. It's not too much, it's just right. I'm going to use the probe with the scale on it for size, lengths, and the smaller ruler as well for looking at foot penetration or other things. This is a gauge that I use for figuring out the difference in the layers. This is consistently, I've used this for decades, so I know when there's a change in the stratigraphy,
Feeling on the
where
way
the
down.
resistance is down. So I don't use a card, it's too thin, but I use this.
Smart.
Super light. And this is your ruche block cord, as you just kind of talked about, right? So that's my snow study kit.
And what are we studying really quick? Buff will look at, he'll take a little sample of the snow.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, this has all different grid pattern here for sizing. But he's studying the snow itself and looking at the crystals, which gives you real indication, especially when you're trying to figure out a problem layer. Explain quickly how that might look on there.
Yeah, sure. As Shane just laid it out there, when a storm comes into the wintertime, it has a characteristic. It could be a wet layer of snow. And then time will go, and there'll be no storm. And then a second storm will come, and a third storm comes, a fourth storm comes. In between those storms, we have different characteristics of weather as well. And the bonding between those storm layers is key. We're trying to find the differences between the resistances between, the density between, and sometimes there's actually the grains between are so different that they don't cohese, but they actually grow apart. And when we find that strategic time and that place, we will avoid that terrain or we'll go and mitigate it by my job, putting an explosive on the slope and creating the avalanche.
Releasing it,
The little key that I've learned over the year, little pro tip, when I'm looking at the grains, trying to identify the grains so I can see them well, I use the black. But if I'm looking to identify the sizing, I'll do it again on this side.
Yeah. And the block Buff talked about, you know, he's cutting a block. He can also mess with that block by tapping it. And long story short, making layers fail when you're testing it in the field. And then sometimes we'll look at those failed layers here, and that further tells you what you're dealing with.
Right.
Yeah.
Confirmed with the information you already got from Avalanche Canada. They'll know of the hazard, and they're telling you. You're just going to go out and confirm what they've told you.
Yeah, and that site is fantastic. The way they lay out the maps, you'll find the map for your zone. We're in the Selkirks. You know, any zone is on there, and you're right, Buff. Just heed those warnings.
Oh yeah, 100%.
There's a lot of folks out there giving the intel, so it is really good information.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. The rest of the stuff is kind of rescue-y stuff. This is a tarp that I have that is also, you could tie it up to use it as a rescue sled. And cool. You know, we found over the time when somebody does get injured or hurt, the key is to keep them warm. So this microclimate where you actually enclose them, you and your patient and your other rescuers, in this vapor lock to get it
so all that
warmer.
Heat is,
right? And with that too, which is super key, you know, shock is the killer of all these. And anytime you have an incident, you at least want to stabilize them so they don't decline. If you can bring them back to being in a better position, good on you. But for the most part, you're just trying to not let them get any worse, just to stabilize. Again, these are heat packs as well, different sizes.
Those are key, and those are in my recreational bag always. Be it your hands, it could be used on yourself, or it could be used on a partner.
And the other key thing with that too, that we've discovered through training and studies with International Commission Alpine Rescue and other first aid courses that we've learned, and practice, keeping people off the snow. So this is actually a mattress, an air mattress, right? Super light.
So, but you're not losing more heat then to the snow.
That's right.
You're keeping that above. That's very cool.
Yeah,
and everything Buff is passing me. I mean, it's the pack. What do you think the pack weighs overall? And this is a professional pack with everything. Do you know exactly what it weighs?
Pretty close.
Yeah? How much?
26 pounds.
Yeah?
Yeah, which is a little on the light side.
That's really good.
Yeah, that's kind of what I target. Like I said.
For this much gear, that's really good.
You need a mask for sure. I got to look at my mask. It's been a year since I've looked at it. So every year I'm going to look at it, make sure that it is inflatable and it's still working. And then this is my first aid kit proper. It's pretty durable. And again, you know, anytime you use a first aid kit, there are parameters WorkSafe BC has different parameters. You can buy first aid kits. This is tailored. This is what I like, what I've used, what I knew.
Yeah.
And so you'll just get to know what works for you. What else do I have? Oh, yes. Splints for arms or knees or legs. It's one of those metal meshed.
They're very packable,
slings.
and then you can just bring these out
Yeah.
open, and they could handle a femur or an ankle or anything like that. You get a guy wrapped up, and then start building your split board, split board exit strategy.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, you know, split or boards just generally make really good toboggans. Two boards with backs on the outside strapped together, and that's an instant transportation sled to get somebody out. It's a really good. This is what you learn on the risk maturity course. Just saying.
Link will be below again.
We're kind of moving now into repairs and other stuff rescue outside of the first aid. These straps, you know, we love these nylon straps, right? They're fantastic.
Those are sizable too, actually. I need to get some.
Yeah,
that
some
size.
thick ones. Yeah, cuts.
Because that could repair a binding. That could even be a binding strap, which I've had to do in the past with one of those. You never know. Like
always. Yeah, more often than not, that's what I use.
Zap straps are definitely in the kit. No question.
Yeah, different sizes and different things.
Duct tape. I'm waiting for the duct tape to come out.
No duct tape, buddy.
No duct tape. All right.
No. And then at the top of the inside pack is just kind of, again, more tools that I don't utilize all the time, but that's why they're away. That's just my ski pass for next year. Okay, so what do we got there? There's a little tool there. I think it's a pair of pliers.
Yeah, Leatherman, this is a really good one, actually. So any form of Leatherman, I mean, you're going to want a knife, you're going to want a couple screwdrivers. I'm trying to think, that's actually a really nice one because it's just the clamp style. Saskatchewan pliers, we sometimes call them up here. But yeah, and then there you go. There's a really
nice
good
knife,
blade.
that's a good knife. Yeah.
You need a good blade out there.
If you need a knife, you need a good one. Yeah, for sure. I pulled out a little headlamp. Again, I have different headlamps depending on if I'm doing stuff that's going to be overnight for sure, or a little bit further out, a bigger light. And this is just a little light to get me through out. A whistle. I don't know if I've ever used a whistle in the last 10 years, but you know.
I still have one with me too.
Yeah. Like you said, a little screwdriver here. This is an old school Burton one. You might have seen these.
Yep, those are great.
The red. Yeah.
Wow, that brings back some memories.
Yeah,
actually.
no
That's
kidding,
cool.
And more all utilized tools, all around tools.
Yeah, you want a Phillips head. You'll need a flat head. 10 mil. You know, there's the common things we need, whether we're split boarding or just out just backcountry snowboarding with snowshoes, which is common out here too. Pow surfing too. Like in the last episode with Jeff, a lot of us do that, and we just take either verts out or even something like the new Union Rovers where you can climb out with that. Those are common with the pow surf guys now too. But just have the tools to run into, like go through scenarios. What have I broken in the past? What did my buddies break in? How do I get ahead of any of these issues while I'm out there? Because the reality is, oftentimes you're 2 hours out there and you do not want things going wrong. I choose my split board bindings based on how few parts they have because I don't want things going wrong. So that's kind of a mentality I have. You're going to learn these things over time. And for the hard goods portion of this, we really wanted to just bring this across to you guys so you understand, like, this is professional, but you're going to take and decide what makes sense for you out there. Oh, you forgot.
Oh, I forgot a pocket here.
Oh, yeah. We got
you're
one
talking
more
about
pocket
professional.
to go, too.
My tournament. And this is the side pocket. This is my rescue rope rescue stuff. So if I, if I'm in glacier terrain, my pack's going to be bigger, and I'll have more rescue stuff for working around glaciers and that sort of thing. For around here, with guiding around here where we're not in avalanche terrain, but still alpine terrain, somebody falls into a creek or over a little cliff or something like that. This is a cool little thing. This is a diaper, it's called.
Oh, yeah.
Super light. Yeah. And climbing, and you just like put that on your patient, and it's like a diaper. It goes 2 around and 1 through the legs, and you can clip into that.
This is how you can extract somebody.
Yeah. The ropes that I'm using, these are, I used to work in film doing stunt rigging. And this is a spectre type of cord that is stronger, as strong as cable of the same gauge.
Wow.
And and then all of the loops in it, they're actually what's called fitting, which I'm a fitter. You don't tie knots in it. You just kind of like weave something
And very
new
low
into it.
volume for how much length you're going to get.
And
out of
super,
that too.
super light.
Yeah.
Right?
Which is key.
Yeah.
Now, something like this could be used in a rescue scenario too. If you had to build a toboggan to get somebody out too, this is the rope we're going to use. Few carabiners. I've extracted myself off a ski lift before because I had rope in my pack. So you should just always have rope.
I absolutely
always have rope.
And again, you know, it's pretty clear what it is. I mean, that's going to be my anchor, and this is going to be my length to get down to my person, and this is the person that I'm going to reach with. I may not use a carabiner to clip into them because carabiners are heavy, so I might use a knot to tie into that.
Totally.
So all these different ideas, and again, another sling, super light, 2 more slings for anchors, etc. So that's, I think that's it. Yeah.
Awesome.
There we go.
So the key components you're going to purchase, you're going to research beacons. Buffery has ones he likes. I have ones I like. We're not going to be brand specific today. You're going to do some research. You're going to research your backpacks. You're going to go try some on in the shops.
Yeah.
You're going to check that out. You're going to research shovels anywhere between the 2 we showed you. There is a ton out there. It's got to fit in your bag.
And metal.
And metal. It's got to fit in your bag and metal. If you're building kickers, you're going to go one way. If you're getting more into looking at guiding, you're going to go a slightly different way. And lastly, part of that component you're going to be looking at is your probe. And Buff went through that. You know, you're looking at anywhere from 270 to 320 in centimeters. I don't know what that is in inches. I don't even know if they do that.
No, international's all in metric.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yay, go Canada.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are your main components, and then you're going to build out from there. And that's why I wanted John to kind of dissect that whole pack, because this, extrapolate what you need from here. There's a lot of absolutes on this table, and then there's a few things that are upper level professionalism. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see you pull that apart. It's a little bit different from the last time too. It's evolved. I like it.
Yeah.
Buff, a few other things, you know, just as we close up here, for those philosophies to approaching the backcountry and mindsets. A lot of people are just get out and go. They're so excited to become a part of that culture. But what are some things that you would, just a little bit of advice you give to those folks that are kind of intermediate or even new to this?
Yeah. You know what you find that people that have been into it for a while, the going up is a part of the whole journey of the day. Like taking your time that you're actually looking around and enjoying where you are and having a conversation. It's not just about the straight Direttissima up, right? It's not about just
I'm bagging
snowshoeing
this
up.
peak. That's
And
like
that's my objective.
only focus. Yeah.
Having a good objective is key for sure, but enjoy the moment. And that's where you're going to be open to looking around at what is going on in regards to hazard and your other people in your group. That's super key, to keep an open mind, to understanding what's going on, understanding what you've heard, and extrapolating it to the real in situ situation. So I think those are really key, that when you're going into the backcountry, yeah, be more present than just going for the objective.
Yeah, taking it all in like that. Oh, Buff, that's fantastic. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. This will evolve. I really do want to talk splitboarding and history of splitboarding with Buff, but that's going to be on one of the next ones. But you guys will see this guy again. He's a mainstay up in the shop and been a friend for a long time. So I thank you so much, my friend. That was great. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out. I really want to thank our sponsors, as always, Cole Headwear, BALDFACE Lodge. You guys are both amazing. Keeping the show rolling, and one operation that hopefully you can go visit is BALDFACE. I hope you guys all get out there at some point in your life. And Cole Headwear, you should just be wearing this shit. It's amazing, and again, great people to support snowboarding left and right. I love those guys. So yeah, thanks again, folks. We'll see you on the next one.
Excellent. Thanks, Shane.